Excited, excited, I'm very excited for you and me. Hey, welcome to Silver's Reign, the channel where we reign supreme in catching your dreams. Today we are going to be talking about what is the one thing that is the major difference between you and somebody that is very successful. I'm gonna tell you what it is, but before I do that, I'm very hungry, so I'm gonna go cook some lunch. Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna be a lot more into this now that I've gotten something into this. You get it? Into this belly? Now, come on. If we're gonna talk about success, I want to give you the definition of success. Success, by definition, is having achieved popularity, profit, or distinction. Either you are very known, very profitable, or you're very prominent in what you do, kind of what you're known for. So what's the difference in you and a person who has achieved that? What if I told you that the things that separates your success from their success is actually located on your body? What would you think? I'm gonna give you a second. If you thought it was your thoughts or your brain, you are correct. Now, when I say your brain, I do not mean that they are smarter than you, that they have a bigger brain, littler brain, medium sizer. That's not a word, but a more medium size. I'm not talking about their brain and the construction of it physically. I'm talking about their brain as in their thoughts, how they utilize their brain, how they allow themselves to think, which then allows them to take certain actions. What's mind-blowing if you think about it, we kind of are born with the mindset that we should have to be successful. I'm not even gonna say kinda, like we have the mindset. We're a child. We're bouncing off the walls. We're curious. We're touching this. We're touching that. We're grabbing this. We're asking all of these questions. What is this, mommy? What is that? Can I do this? What is that? Think about a child. They're very curious. They get into anything. They're not afraid of anything for the most part, and they're just testing things out, and they're getting hurt. They're learning from their mistakes. That is how children are naturally. Children want to learn. They're bold, and they step out and they do things. And what happens is there's this great awesome adult in their life that loves them, so they teach them, don't touch fire, it's gonna burn you. Don't do that, you're gonna get hurt. Hey, you're not tall enough to reach that counter, let me do it, or get someone else to do it. Just so many different things. Think about how we train our children, at least in American society. I can't really speak on other societies, but in American society, we are training them on what and what not to do. We ourselves have been institutionalized with these white picket fence type American dream in our minds. So when we think of success for our children, it's like, I want you to go to college, I want you to make good money, I want you to have retirement fund, I want you to be happy, get married, have a beautiful house, and have children in your beautiful white picket fence. That is how we are trained. You go to school, you get you a great job, and you make that good money, you get that retirement, and you settle down, and then that's the end of your life. You go to work for somebody else. That's normal. Then we get into high school. They're preparing us for college. There's so much pressure put on college. That's pretty much what is pushed in America. I think the world is changing a little bit. People are starting to at least be more aware that it's okay if you don't want a career that'll lead you into college. But I still think people are not really grasping how their mind is set. I don't think people even realize what their mindset is. It's not even about to go to college. I don't want that to be the misconception of this video. It's not about college and not going to college. The thing is, there are some children that try to say, I'm a very good artist. I draw so great. I would love to go to school for art. Or I would love to just dig into this art and try to see how that will work out. And a lot of parents say, no, you have to go to college and get a good job. Nowadays times are so crazy because honestly, it's like any passion you have, you can really start a career out of it. There used to be a thing your parents would say, is that game gonna make you some money? Okay then. Now literally, like, if you play the game a lot and you get great at it and you find a way to film it and make content with it, that game will make you hella money. Probably more money than whoever said that has even touched in one check. But so early on in our life, everything is just shut down for us. We are taught to be pessimists. Not saying that people just tell us that everything's bad unless it's going to a job, but kind of sort of when it comes to choosing your career and what you're gonna do in life. And of course, this isn't everybody, but the majority of people, you go to college, you get a good job. So let's say you are someone who goes to college. Basically, what your professors are doing is they're preparing you to go work for somebody, to go do a position at a place of business. Even if you still have that spark of curiosity, that spark of spontaneity, optimism, wanting to do your own thing, do something that's never really been done, something that's not the path normally taken, at that point it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I have to be responsible and get a real job. That gets embedded in your brain without you even thinking. So then that becomes our focus in life. Getting a real great job with a high paying position. Okay, so you're probably like, all right, Silver, what does that have to do with anything? What does that do to our mindset? The problem is, all of your life, you've been told you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Don't do this. Oh, this is bad for you. You've been always told that you can't. Instead of someone rephrasing it and letting you learn and start to grow and just really start to tap into the area of your brain that's going to have that creativity where you get to know yourself and you get to really explore. Robert Kiyosaki, he said, instead of saying I can't afford, let me start to say how can I afford? And just that simple switch of a word, that simple switch in your mind will change so much for you in life. Think about it. We train our brains, right? If you say I can't, it's done, it's over with. All right, your brain shuts down. Your brain's not thinking anymore. Your brain's not exploring because you can't. You can't. Literally, your brain is like, all right, on to the next thought. So out loud, go ahead and just say, I can't go to the store. Your brain's just gonna shut down. Your brain's not really gonna have much activity on that subject. You're trained that when you say I can't, your brain stops. Versus, how can I? How can I afford this? Then guess what? Your brain starts thinking, oh, you know, I can do this, I can do that. Oh, they got this. So you really start to tap into the part of your brain that just has all those juices that get to flowing for you to think these thoughts and create these great things and come up with great stuff. Basically, just get to tap into your intellect. You're keeping your brain open, more positive. You're working your brain harder. You're letting your brain be a brain. People have two different types of mindset: a consumer mindset or an investor mindset. A consumer mindset, you more so look at things just to buy them and have them and utilize them for leisure, hobby, stuff that you need. When you look at things with an investor's mind, you think of things like, how could this get me more? How can I flip? What profit can I get out of this? Or even if it's not money or profit, what value can I get out of this? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people with investor mindsets aren't consumers. We all are consumers in one way or another. Of course, we just go buy a shirt because it's cute. A good example of having a consumer mindset versus an investor mindset is even this. And this does not have to mean like investor as in you're flipping houses, but let's just use this example with housing. You're just a regular schmegular degular person. You get your income tax back and you getting you a big check. Uncle Sam is giving you a big wad of cash back. Boom, bloop, $7,000. So you're like, you know what? I want a house. I'm tired of these apartments. Your realtor takes you to the first house. This house is just beautiful. Upgraded, and it's pretty. The paint is pretty. Everything's pretty. It's in a nice neighborhood, and it is just a great house. Everything you love. And this is a $200,000 house, and you got to put $6,000 down on this house. And that's house A. You go to another house, and actually this house is not too far away, probably within like 10 minutes from this last house. So it's still in a decent neighborhood. From the outside, you like, what the heck is this? This house like look like it ain't been painted in about 50 years. What's going on? You go inside the house, and yeah, it look like they ain't painted in the inside too. You go into the kitchen, and the kitchen is all old and outdated, and it's like, oh my gosh, who is living here? Aunt Jemima? All the foundation's fine, plumbing looks fine, water heater, everything looks fine in this house, but the house is just run down. And the realtor tells you this is a handyman special. Crazy thing happened on the market, and the house is actually $6,000, and you can own it outright, but the house needs at least $10,000 in work to get livable and get decent looking. That's what the realtor tells you based off of her estimate, but she's pretty sure that you're not going to be interested in this house. It's just something that was right down the street, so she figured why not show it to you. So you got that house. Then you got a house which is the same deposit, and it's a $100,000 house. It ain't horrible, ain't nothing special. It's just a house. It's like an neighborhood. I mean, and that's that for that house, right? So with that scenario, really think about it. Which house would you even consider, and which house would you just not consider at all? House A, B, or C? For most people, house B, the one that they said is a rehab, I'm not even going to consider that. I don't flip houses. I'm not a house flipper. I don't work on houses, and I definitely don't have another $10,000-$11,000 to put work into the house to be living. I need a house that I'm be living in. The difference when I say consumer and investor is in that mindset right there. Moral of that story is we are not taught to only gain things or do things that's going to be an asset to us. We're actually taught to have liabilities. We're taught to be in debt. We're taught to buy houses that we don't have enough to pay off, go to college that we don't have enough to pay off, get vehicle loans that we don't have enough to pay off, have credit cards that we don't have enough to pay off. You might get a credit card with a $10,000 limit, but you don't have $10,000 at your disposal most of the time. What is that? Being put in a situation where they're lending you more credit than you can afford to just pay off in a womp. But this is how we are taught. So as consumers, we get in our minds, okay, we acquire liabilities. We acquire things that's not gonna bring us more money per se, like it's just going to bring us more debt, but it's cute, fulfilling, it's gonna be flashy, I'm gonna look like I'm the stuff, I'm gonna be comfortable. This is how we think when we're making purchases, versus looking at things with, what is this going to do for me? Is this gonna make it harder for me in the long run or better for me? We don't look at things like that. So I feel like a lot of successful people, probably all of them in some type of way, form or fashion, have a delusional confidence. So when I say delusional confidence, when you think of delusion, what do you think of? You think of like a crazy person or somebody who's just, they just don't see things the way that they are. And when you think about it, you almost have to have a delusional amount of confidence in your abilities, because you need to be able to be in a situation or make a decision with something that just doesn't look like, nah, that ain't it, sis. You need to be able to have the confidence to see past the physical, see past right now and see into the future, and be confident about your decision in that future. So if I buy that $6,000 house, think about it. Your family and friends are probably gonna be like, are you crazy? That house was nice. You gotta prove it was $200,000. It had a nice kitchen, it was a nice neighborhood, everything, right? You crazy. Why would you buy that rundown piece of crap? This is like literally what people would be saying to it. Most people would think that you're stupid or you're crazy for buying that $6,000 house. They're like, what you gonna do with it? You don't even have the money to put into it, so what are you gonna do with it? But if you smart and you thinking like an investor, you thinking like, I might not have the money, but somebody has the money, and there's plenty of people that buy houses. This is a whole $1 trillion market. The real estate industry is one of the biggest industries in America. So there's always people buying and selling houses. There's always a flip. So if you know that and you're confident in the future, you can see in the future, either I'm gonna get an investor to give me money, or I'm just gonna sell this house for more. I might sell the house for $12,000, and an investor comes snatch that deal up because it's so sweet, and they go put $10,000-$20,000 into it, probably do a little more so they can up the price. They might put $30,000 into it, and now they've paid 12 plus 30, they've paid $42,000 for this house that they're about to flip for $200. Yeah, that part. So that's the difference in how these people are thinking. They want to sell you that liability. They don't want to take it on. So that's what I mean by delusional confidence. You have to be so confident that to other people you look crazy. And I actually have a quote. I came up with this quote in 331:19. Being called crazy, not in reference to mental instability, is one of the best indicators that you have the potential to be a millionaire and or successful. Why? People who have success, a lot of the moves they made and the steps they've taken, people have called them insane in the membrane, crazy, dodo, what is wrong with you? Like I told you, we're institutionalized. This is not what we're taught. We can't think that big. We can't see that far. We don't have that confidence in ourselves. So when somebody's doing something that just looks like you can't even see how there could be a benefit out of it, that's not a immediately satisfying thing, you think to yourself, that person's insane, crazy. What was they thinking? This is things that we hear all the time. That's why I came up with that quote, because I'm sure when Tyler Perry put all his money into a play, people was like, you're insane in the membrane. Now you out here sleeping under bridges. What's wrong with you? And now look at him. I'm sure he heard crazy. It's not really that you're crazy and you're delusional. It just, if people think you're crazy for making decisions that you know are good, sound decisions, it means you think differently. And it's good. Like, you don't want to follow the pack. Why would I listen to somebody who's not in no way, shape, or fashion, not even close, they're not even on the journey, on their way to doing nothing, like they're in the same boat as me? Why would I keep doing the same things and getting the same results? So this is to just bring awareness that when we talk about catching our dreams, when we talk about being successful, the first thing that you need to work on, the most important thing that you need to work on, is your mindset, because the way that you think is going to resonate in the way that you act and the way that you react. Even with myself, I had to continue to change as far as my actions. So now I'm finally getting to how can I afford this? How can I make this happen? How can I? There's no can't, there's how can I's. So that's the point that I've gotten to, and I'm just encouraging you, check your mental, do a mental check. How do you think about things? How do you look at things? Are you looking through a consumer's lens? Are you looking through an investor's lens? Make sure you make your decisions with your investor cap on. You can read books. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great read. Get some mentorship. Watch the people that you're around, because honestly, energy and spirits and all of that stuff is real. So if you're around somebody who's negative, pessimistic, they ain't never speaking life into you, everything is can't, then you allowing your brain to ingest that can't. And we not can't over here. Like, we're can, how can I? That's what's going on. So we definitely gotta ditch the pessimist for sure, because even when you look at things from a biblical perspective, the Bible even talks about the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2, it says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transferred by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So that's your purpose. A lot of great books about success and how to be the best you, they tell you you have to start with the renewal of your mind. Read some books, connect with some people, let go of some people, do what you gotta do. Get ready for this journey. Gear up. Mwah.